When I was a kid, the Carousel of Progress was my favorite attraction at Walt Disney World, primarily because it was 20 uninterrupted minutes of sitting in a dark, air-conditioned, rotating theater. But the catchy song was also a plus.
There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, just a dream away.
The ride is one of Magic Kingdom's oldest attractions, a brainchild of Walt himself that debuted at the World Fair in 1964. The Carousel posits a romanticized narrative about the inherently glorious nature of progress while simultaneously pining for a nostalgic and bygone era. Things only ever change for the better, and each new invention propels us further into humanity's golden age. In order to keep the attraction relevant, Disney's Imagineers have updated it 5 times since its inception, making it the longest-running stage show in the history of American theater. But there's this intrinsic irony to the Carousel of Progress. It's trapped in a perpetual loop. So this year sucked. Without exaggeration, 2023 was one of the worst years of my life thus far. I didn't exactly have high expectations for it, but things sure went downhill in a hurry. I spent all of March bedridden from a pinched nerve and no less than 3 bulging discs in my spine. Then I caught a stomach virus that was so severe, I lost 10% of my body weight. I finally left a dead-end job that was slowly siphoning every ounce of my happiness, but after a few weeks passed, I realized that I was still really miserable. The only difference was I no longer had a scapegoat for said misery. And that's just the shit I'm willing to share with strangers on the internet. That's not to say I didn't have good days. Quite the opposite, really. I went on some awesome vacations. I got to experience several once-in-a-lifetime events, and I've never felt closer with my friends. There is no scarcity of joy in my life, but the overabundance of negative stuff definitely didn't help my inner nihilist. I'm not an optimist by nature. Positivity is rarely my first impulse, but I wish it was. So much so that I made focus on the bright side one of my New Year's resolutions. In hindsight, that was a really stupid decision, because I hate New Year's. People claim that Valentine's Day is the most pointless holiday, but the notion of celebrating love is admirable when you strip away the commercialist coding. New Year's is fairly self-explanatory. Celebrate the new year. But every calendar in the world is made up. There's no real difference between December 31st and January 1st. We just collectively decided there was one. I remember the first time I managed to stay up until midnight on New Year's Eve, and let me tell you, 8-year-old Jenny was pissed when she realized how anticlimactic the ball drop was. I thought that it would literally drop and shatter into a million pieces in this symbolic representation of the year ending, but nope. It's just a shiny disco globe that reaches the end of a metal pole. Whoop-de-fucking-do. The concept of New Year's resolutions also used to deeply annoy me. Why wait for some trivial timestamp to try and better yourself when you could just make that decision at any given moment? They're not even an effective way for sustaining change. Studies show that of the 41% of Americans who make New Year's resolutions, only 9% of those people actually keep them. Now, I'm not good at math, but those statistics are pretty frickin' bleak. So why did I make New Year's resolutions when I obviously have such a low opinion of them? Well, I was kind of forced to. My old boss told me to make several small resolutions. Even if I didn't achieve all of them, I'd still have a few accomplishments to point to by year's end. Sounds manageable, right? Yeah, I didn't complete any of them. Upload at least 1 video essay per month. Nope. Read 20 books of any given genre. Nope again. Work out once a week. Huge nope. I wasn't too bummed out by these failures. If I'm being honest, I completely expected them. But they did prompt an interesting realization for me. New Year's is not a reset button. It's a bookmark. Life is ridiculously repetitive. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Adulthood is just learning different variations of the same lessons over and over and over again. The wheel of time never stops turning, and we're all just passengers on the carousel. Nothing changes when the clock strikes midnight, but it's okay to believe otherwise. The human brain needs mile markers. It needs clear lines of demarcation in order to make sense of the world. We are creatures of habit. Patterns bring us comfort, and symmetry is soothing. Falling into the trenches of our own making is easy. Climbing back out of them is ridiculously hard. These past 3 years have kind of bled together like an amorphous ink stain for me. And that's not healthy. I love a good routine as much as the next person. But life articulated isn't restricted by any given mold. It's no coincidence that my most vivid memories are the ones I made whilst trying new things. There's no harm in making New Year's resolutions. If anything, it's admirable, because at least you're attempting to do something different. Everyone's found themselves in a perpetual loop before. It's an inevitable aspect of life, but if you retain the belief that tomorrow can be beautiful, then you have a real shot at breaking the cycle. One of my favorite hobbies is fishing. The success rate of any given cast is slim, but there's always a chance that something awesome is about to happen. That's life in a nutshell. Failure is in the eye of the beholder. As long as I keep fishing and creating and trying, then I can't lose. So that's my resolution, now and always. Happy New Year.